I would say this is even more scary news, which is he considers them dangerous and threat to national security. The U.S. Senate banking chair, Sherrod Brown, suggested to the SEC and CFTC that crypto outright should just be banned, just completely be banned, okay, because of what happened to FTX. And the reason he gave was he considers them dangerous and threat to national security, and used for North Korean cyber criminal activity, and used for drug trafficking and human trafficking and facing terrorism as some of the problems they exacerbated. So basically, all the negatives, everything bad around the world is caused by cryptocurrency, is what he's arguing. Okay, so he's suggesting a complete ban, and he told him and some other banking committee member told CFTC and SEC they want a full breakdown of all crypto because they want to ban it. But here's the thing: even he recognizes that this would open up Pandora's box, because if, let's say, the U.S. completely bans crypto, okay, where's crypto going to go? Easy, overseas, right? And then the U.S. has no control over it whatsoever. So even he says that this is very difficult, because even if it happens, it may make things worse, because people and companies will just move overseas and it's not going to stop anything. So that's right. That's right. So even saying stuff like this, just, it's pointless. It's pointless. There's absolutely no point to say, oh, we're going to try to ban, because it's not going to happen, first of all. There are actually a lot of Congress people that are for Bitcoin and crypto. They actually understand what it's about. But of course, there's some people that don't understand, that wants to just throw nonsense, nonsense thoughts or nonsense wants right out there, thinking that somehow it's going to catch. It's not. It's not. You can't stop Bitcoin and crypto. Most projects, at least the bigger ones, the better ones, are decentralized, spread across the world, right? There's no one country that could stop it. There's no one entity that can stop it. And there's no banks that could stop it. I mean, think about the irony here. The banking chair is floating this possibility. Why do you think the banking chair wants to stop Bitcoin and crypto? Because they're looking out for the banks, right? The banking chair and the committee is looking out for the banks, and the banks are threatened by crypto. So think about that. Think about that, right? So anyways, this may sound scary. There is absolutely zero chance this is going to happen. Unfortunately, this is, this always happens whenever you have a major collapse like FTX, right? So it's causing a lot more fear, a lot more people that want to regulate and so forth. There will probably be more regulations, but there will not be no outright ban. That's for sure. But I was going to make this connection that this is more scary. Grayscale possibly having to sell 20% of their Bitcoin is a lot more scary than this. The other big news, and this is positive, is the fact that Binance.us today announced they will be buying Voyager. Now, Voyager's bankruptcy has been ongoing for quite some time. FTX was going to buy Voyager. Obviously, that's no longer going to happen. So they decided to re-auction, and Binance.us won out. And according to the CEO of Binance.us, keep in mind, Binance.us and Binance.com are two separate entities led by different people, right? So Brian, who's the CEO and president of Binance.us, came out and said that they're buying them. Everything is going to, as much as they can, I guess. They don't say how much. But they will be returning the user funds to the users. Obviously, it's going to be on Binance.us. So if you're not in the U.S., I don't know what that means, because if you're not in the U.S., then you can't create a .us account. And there are certain states, like if you're in Texas, for example, you can't get access to a Binance.us account. So I don't know what that means. But then he goes on and said, we maintain our reserves 1-to-1. We're operating in 46 states and 3 territories. So unfortunately, there's going to be a few states that will not be able to create accounts or log in. And what is it? We want to give user access to their assets in March of 2023, which isn't that far away. It's like only 3 months away, right? So that is positive. And how much did they pay? According to this, they paid $1 billion. They paid $1 billion and they gave additional $20 million as consideration. So that $1 billion is what the fair market value of the crypto that Voyager still holds. Okay, I don't know how that compares to previous estimates. I forgot what FTX paid. I don't know if they ever announced that number. And the percentage of how much you're expected to get back, we don't know. Before, I think it was 70 or 73%, something like that. That was stated that FTX would give back. In this case, is it going to be more, less? We don't know at this point. But we do have a new owner now, right? So what's going to happen to Celsius? Is Binance going to buy Celsius too? I don't know. But Binance did acquire another Indonesian exchange called Toko Crypto. Right, I never heard of this exchange. But Binance is still continuing forward. Despite the fact that there's all this FUD around Binance, this is what they're doing. They're still moving forward, still building, so still acquiring, still growing, right? This is the difference between Binance and most exchanges out there, because they ignore the FUD and they keep going. So, pretty good. What else is going on today? Well, of course, there are some altcoin news. Raoul Pal says Polygon, Avalanche are unlocking something big, and we should not be ignoring neither one. And I do agree with that. But he also says don't ignore Solana. Okay? These days, Solana does not get a lot of love. Very little love. In fact, Radium just got hacked for $2 million just last week. So it's been pretty tough for Solana. But Raoul Pal still believes that Solana is worth believing in, because they have cut deals with big tech companies and launched its own retail stores, giving it an edge despite a harsh year for its price. I don't know if launching the retail stores is a good thing. I actually think that's a horrible idea. But yeah, they got deals with Meta and Google and all sorts of others. Again, I don't know about what kind of deals he's talking. I don't remember that. Polygon has a big deal with Meta. Google, maybe I missed it. I don't know what deal they have. And they have done a deal with Discord as well. I must have missed that too. So I'll look into those, but I don't recall recently they made deals with them. But however, I do think that, I've been asked this a lot. I do think Solana will continue forward. They're not going to shut down despite their problems. And Totally also said he has some major upgrades in place to kind of stop their network outages. They have this issue with spam attacks. He's like, he has a plan to fix that, right? Solana, there's still a lot of people that do hold Solana, and they do have still a relatively robust and fast chain. However, they have their own problems. Still, Alameda holds 13% of Solana. That's a big problem. And also their network outages has not been fixed. And plus, they're really, I don't know, people have this tie or consider them to have close ties with FTX, right? So there's a lot of stuff. But I do agree that Polygon, yeah, they're definitely unlocking something big. And also Avalanche. And also a lot of the big caps are still in the space, despite them being down like 80, 90%, right? Same deal Cardano. You got to throw some love at Cardano, even though they have been selling off like crazy recently, even more so than some of the other peers. But you still have holders that are holding, and you still have new people that's coming in, and you still have Charles still doing his streams and educating, right? So these are all fantastic things. That's why you don't want to give up. These projects are continuing forward every single cycle. You see a lot of these projects fall down very low. People give up on them, right? But then they regret it when things come back up and these projects make a new all-time high. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. What else is going on? As for Bitcoin, a lot more. I mean, there's always a lot of, but there's even more metrics and indicators that show, man, what a time we're in and what a time to be buying. Look at all the bullish MACD crosses. Okay, this is on a 2-week scale, and every time this has happened, look at it. Bitcoin went up 1,200%, 255%, 2,700%, 241%, 641%, 67%, and we had that happen just now. And not only that, look at how oversold the MACD is. This is on the 2-week time frame. So take a look at that. This is indicating, screaming, this is the time to be DCAing, the time to be buying. And here's another one. Here's another one, right? You can see we are as oversold as 2015 to 2016, right? There's so many metrics and indicators that are showing buy at this point. And also, just take a look at last week's exchange flows for Bitcoin, negative 1.3%, negative 1.3 billion, Ethereum, negative 1.4 billion, even Tether, negative 1.4 billion. There are a lot of crypto being taken off the exchanges right now, and that is fantastic, right? That's what we want to see. All right, last few things I got to talk about. Grayscale is talking about how if they don't get approval for their Bitcoin ETF, they will be returning 20% of their investor capital. So I don't know what I think about this. I think they're facing a whole lot of pressure from investors, and I'm talking about institutional investors, not retail investors. Institutional investors that's getting sick of their negative 49% discount to negative asset value, which means, for example, let's say Kathy Wood of ARK Invest, if they put $1,000 into GBDC, right, this is privately, it's worth 49% less on the open market. So they are taking an absolute hit, right? And that's not supposed to be. Institutional investors are supposed to be able to buy GBDC privately and then be able to sell it off later at a profit because this net asset value discount used to be flipped, okay? Meaning that it would be more expensive to buy on the open market rather than buy from Grayscale directly. But that has now turned negative, so you can actually buy it cheaper on the open market than privately. So, of course, institutional investors do not like that, right? But I don't know what this means exactly. If they're going to be selling off 20% of the total, does that mean they're going to sell 20% of the Bitcoin also in that Grayscale Bitcoin Trust? Because that would be like absolutely disastrous. I hope that's not what it means. I'm not quite sure if they're just returning the money, or if they're returning the money and they have to sell out the Bitcoin that's in the trust, okay? Because they hold 600,000 Bitcoins and selling 20% of that is like 120,000. That would be an enormous amount of Bitcoin to be sold at this point in time. So hopefully this is not the case. And plus, Grayscale is owned by DCG, and DCG has their problems right now with Genesis, right? So Genesis is $1 billion in the hole. So does this have something to do with that, right? I don't know. But this is actually a little concerning. Hopefully they clarify on what this means exactly. Today, Tesla's up slightly, just barely, and that's because Elon posted a poll asking if he just stepped down as the head of Twitter. And majority of people said yes. And then now you have all these candidates coming out for the new CEO. For example, you have Mr. Tom Anderson, the founder of MySpace, is chiming in. He has not been on Twitter for like 4 years, and all of a sudden he tweets or replies, I should say. Edward Snowden says, yeah, I'll take payment in Bitcoin, so he's volunteering. And then, what is it? Lex Friedman said that he would do it too, right? But Elon is actually considering this, I think. He's like, well, you have to invest your life savings first. And if so, maybe I'll consider you for the job. So I think that's the big thing that's swirling around today on Twitter, whether or not Elon should step down from the way Tesla is moving. Well, now it's looking like it wants to flip into red again. But I was going to say, from the way the stock is moving, I think most people want this, because I think most people think that Elon is just way too distracted by Twitter right now. Tesla investors want him to go back to being full-time at Tesla and SpaceX and not spend so much time on Twitter, right? So will he really step down? I think so, but probably not this soon. You know, Twitter is still in a mess. So we will see. We'll see. All right, we'll start out with that.